Well, welcome everybody. This is going to be the first intro session or technical session that we are going to have. The idea for today is to present, how many cool features we have and why Eternity is the right blockchain to build a DeFi solution. Let me start with presenting myself. My name is Omar Sadoun. I'm a software engineer, and I have been working with the eternity for more than a year now. And I'm going to be currently I'm in charge of the devs ambassadors and the dev marketing part. And let me see how to share my screen so we can start right away. Please confirm me that it's working.
I can see your screen.
Oh, thanks, Eric. Awesome. Well, almost 2 years since the mainnet was launched on November 28th, a couple of years ago, of course. And we have been through 3 hard forks so far, and we have a bunch of transactions. But that's not made alone. And we want to explain, we want to share all the good stuff we have, and how this is happening, how this is working, and what are the good tools we have for you, to build in this hackathon great ideas, great solutions, great products. Some part that we are going to be handling during this session is to learn about a token, to learn a little bit about our consensus protocol, how it's built, what's the idea behind, how is the mechanism that we have to scale off-chain with state channels. Also talking a little bit about oracles and the naming system. Some details about this webinar is going to be an introduction. We have so many subjects that take so many time to explain, that if we want to go deeper in each one, is going to take us like many hours. So my advice here is to pick up the ones you are thinking that could be a very good solution for what you are thinking, and then try to go deeper on the other sessions that we will have, where we are going to be going down on advanced Sophia, on oracles, and other parts. But also you can feel free to ask in any of our channels anytime, how things work, what are the best way to do things, where are the, I don't know, the documentation, everything. So feel free to ask us any information you need for your project to work. As I was saying, we are going to continue with the naming system and the generalized accounts, talking a little bit about the Fate virtual machine, and finally the Sophia language. And I put it at the end, but I like to invite everybody to read our white paper. There is a bunch of information there on how everything works and why it was thought on that way. And for me, it's a unique piece to understand how it works on a blockchain. Very well. So starting with our consensus protocol, where to start? It's so complex to explain that I will try to be as short as possible. I would like to start with the result, and then explain a little bit on how it works. The result is that we have a lot of transactions on chains that are possible. We had around 117, 120 on-chain transactions per second. What is a very good reach, thinking that we are not using any layer 2 or 3 solution to make it happen. This is on layer 1. This is our protocol working that way, in a very fast and secure way. And this is possible through the Bitcoin NG and CuckooCycle proof of work protocol we have. The way, in very few words, the way we are achieving this is through the building of key blocks and the micro blocks. They are all connected. I have a nice picture here because it's always helpful to see how it connects and how it works. But what is important is that we have a 3-second microblock that will contain transactions. So you can have very fast information put on the blockchain that you can verify. And that's incredible comparing to almost any other blockchain around. Regarding transactions, and of course we have a coin. We have the A token or A coin as is presented on the white paper. It's our native currency. The most basic transactions that we can work with is the spend transaction, where you transfer coins from one sender to another. You can send A tokens from an account to another account, or could be to an oracle or even a smart contract. And you can also add a binary payload to that transaction. Of course, it's like I like to say that you always have to pay to somebody for the infrastructure, and the way we do this, it's like almost any other blockchain around. It's working with fees that are going to pay the gas that we need to process that transaction that has to be paid with A tokens. Sorry. One comment here, because there is people that may know already about how things work. I guess everybody knows how it works on blockchain in general, but it's also important to talk about the specifics of our blockchain. And I guess somebody is going to be a little bit curious and say, okay, I want to start working on this. I will need some tokens. And we have the testnet for starting to work, to try, and to do some proof of concepts. And of course, you will need those A tokens that you can get from the faucet that we have. That link, I will share that link, or maybe Eric can share it on the chat. Otherwise, I will share it later, or you can find it on our website at aeternity.com. I would say that the A token is the way and our currency for paying transactions, for making those transactions to happen. And the way it does is very, very, very fast. And of course, every state change that we have that was done via transactions will consume and will need some gas that we are going to be paying. And at the end, we were going to be paid, the miners, with that token. Well, now things start to be a little more complex and exciting, and well, more questions could arise. If you need or have any questions at any time, just raise your hand or write it on the chat. And when we have like a small pause between slides, we can look for them. Thing we have, of course, we have very good throughput on transactions on chain, but there is use cases that will need some more speed, right? So the way we have is using state channels to have a scaling off chain. In generally speaking, how this work, we have an agreement between two peers that they want to exchange messages, they want to exchange information, they want to exchange some rules agreements. So we can establish, and the most important part of this is on our protocol. This was made from the beginning on our protocol. So you don't need to add anything, any third party, any other tool. You don't need anything more than just Eternity blockchain. So if you have that agreement that you want to establish between two peers, you can use state channels to talk between them. And the way it works, I like to have those images to explain and make it easier to understand. You have those two peers that will start talking between them through an agreement, and every message that you have between them is going to be signed at every moment, and to ensure that both are still there on that channel that they created, and that they put some tokens in it, and they will start to exchange information back and forth, until they go to a final state that they are all agree, or maybe not. In case they are not, well, you have to bring the dispute mechanism where you can see what was the last signed state. And well, could be, and this is kind of complex, and I invite again to read all the detailed information of the state channel on the white paper or the documentation we have on GitHub, because it's very, very interesting on how to resolve that. Because of course, every one of the peers can have his own version of what was the signed state, the last signed state. So at some point they will get to an agreement and they will solve it on chain. So this is a very interesting feature we have. I will say that there is a lot of use cases that works and makes sense on the use of state channels. The most basic one is exchange messages, maybe for gate movements. The coffee shop, but of course there is some limitation that need to be known. Like, you need to have a channel created before starting, and that channel is going to be created on chain. So if you are thinking of something that has to be very, very quick, and those two peers doesn't know each other, you will need to have a previous process where they initiate that channel, they put some money on the channel, and then they start working. Next time they want to do something, well, the channel is already there, and it's going to be like lightning fast for them to interact. So far, we are. Well, perfect. If there is no question, I'm not seeing, just in case, Eric, I'm not seeing the chat while I'm sharing the screen. So if there is no question.
No questions so far.
Thank you, Omar.
No problem. Thank you. Well, continuing, and this is, I put it on the first slide that there was a DeFi alert. Oracles. Well, blockchain. I like to say that blockchain is perfect and everything works perfectly inside the blockchain, but blockchain doesn't solve everything. We need to have a way to bring information from the outside, and at that very moment, it's like, okay, everything can go wrong from now on. So I like to say that the oracles, it's a formal mechanism where we bring and we state that we are bringing external information into the blockchain. Let's say sensor information, news, match result, supply chain. There is so many cases where we need to feed our contract with information from the outside, and the way we do that, the formal way we do that, and it's very, very important, because otherwise I could be bringing. By the way, oracles is not a way to ensure that information is right or correct, but at least I have a formal way to know where it comes from and to make it available in a way that makes sense, and at least discourage putting wrong information in it. So, and the way it works, it's pretty simple. And once again, it's for us, it's on the protocol. It's not something that we have to bring from or rely on external things like, I don't know, third-party solution that we may know that are outside. This was made on the protocol from our beginning. So, and you can use it from the same contract without any issue. It's like it's smooth and easy to integrate. So I have a good example here that I will talk about. But before that, one working example that we have is our own superhero platform, where we are already using and taking advantage from the oracles. If I'm not wrong, we are using it to validate the source of the content when you want to claim a fee, a tip for you. But on the meantime, let me talk a little bit about how the oracles work and how's the process, the overall process. If you can see on the screen, I have two actors here. I have Alice and Bob. Could be more Bobs around. That's something interesting about oracles, and something also to take care, because the information you are bringing to the oracle, that at the end is like you are putting that information on the blockchain, is going to be public. So if you don't want to share sensitive information, well, you need to take care of that on the oracle side. So we have a match result, and we need to understand what were the result of a football score, a football match, and Alice has an oracle. For this, Alice needs to register that oracle. To register that oracle, I need to pay a fee for the miner, but also I will have a query fee, because I could be doing this just for fun, but also I could be doing this for business. So I can share information through the oracles to anybody that wants to use it, and I can get a fee for that. Of course, I will have to define an input, a way to understand what information exactly you are looking for, and how I respond to that information, and what was the result of that response. This information, this oracle, is going to be registered on our blockchain, and you will be, and this is on your side, you will be like checking for the real world result. There is many tools over there for monitoring that result. You can even enter that information, let's say, manually, and you put it on the oracle, and you make it available on the blockchain for the rest of the people. And on the other side, I have Bob that is going to be needing that answer, and he will set some, let's say, conditions, and of course he will look for this answer. He will pay for the transaction fee, but he could add some, and I think that's not on my drawing here. He can add what's the time that he can wait for the response. So in case he doesn't get the response on time, well, he won't pay for the response. He won't use the response, and they will keep going being friends with Alice. Anyway, at the end, Bob will have on his contract a response from an oracle, and that response is going to be is going to come from the blockchain. So and that's the good part. It's like we are all on the same environment, we are all secure, we know what were the rules, we know what's the oracle, we have a way to ensure and to trace where that information came from. So I invite you all to check on the superhero GitHub. We have a nice tutorial right now, right from the Owen, with an explanation and step-by-step guide on how to use oracles. I think there is a very good opportunity on making good oracles. Is something sometimes it's important to define what are the purpose of that oracle, and how you design it, and if it makes sense for the type of information. But well, that's part of the challenge here. So be aware of this. Take it in account for your projects, for your ideas. Then I'm very sure that it's going to help you on that process.
Omar, here's a question about oracles from Ellie. She's asking where we can learn more on how to run an oracle.
We can share. We have some documentation from technical perspective. We have some tutorials around. We have a couple of them. They are also on the forum, and there is an article. It's on Medium. We will share right away the information. but there is enough information to understand how it works and to try your own oracle, to try to build your own oracle in a complex solution. So we have kind of a template for making your own oracle, because it's important to understand that more than just the smart contract part, you need to bring that information somehow. You need to have your, I don't know, your server somewhere, or your application that will grab that information and will put it on the oracle. So, and then it's going to be inside the smart contract. But there is a couple of things to take care about.
Omar, sorry, can I ask you just a little questions about the not oracles, the state channels? When we have to establish a channel between two peers, okay, and we want to pay for some transactions of chain, how the one of them have to, how can you assure that the other one has the money to pay to the destinations? The aetos are established on the channel.
Yes, the first thing you do, I'm not a state channel specialist, but I think I can answer this. The first thing you do is to put money on the channel. You create that channel and you put money there. That money is going to be being exchanged between those two peers. So for creating that channel, you need to have that token amount with you.
Okay, you establish the amount of AI tokens that you want to put in this state channel.
Exactly. So
okay.
you cannot start the channel if you don't have enough tokens. But that's part of the agreement. Something very interesting I missed it on the explanation of state channels is that you can also execute smart contract through the channel. So you can have more advanced rules and to follow just than just sending messages or sending money back and forth. But that's a much more complex. State channels by itself, it's a very complex tool and has to be all the time in our side is all the time being improved. So, but it's a very good piece and a very cool feature to boost and to help on scaling the transactions.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you, Omar.
You're welcome. Well, this is a maybe more easy to understand, although there is a pretty much complex diagram here for all the life cycle of a name. But the idea behind the naming system is very simple. It's making easy for developers, for coders, and people in general to find and to send and to use addresses is for my wallet, in example, because as usual on blockchain, your address is always something impossible to memorize. I don't even know what my address is. I know it starts with AK, and that's it. That's the only part I remember. So having a naming system will allow me to use easy to remember names. So and this is applicable for any kind of address that we have on æternity. So this is a cool feature that could bring other kind of, let's say, businesses. Like, well, if you have a cool address, it can turn into a business opportunity. The way it works is through auctions, through a system where you can bid for a name, following all this process of pre-claim, then the claim, and well, depending on the length the name, you can do that process like instantly, or maybe if the length of the name is a little bit short, I don't remember exactly how short it has to be, you will have to wait a little bit more while somebody has the opportunity to make a better offer. But the general rule is that you are going to be bidding for that name when you claim it, and at some point it's going to be yours for a time. I know that there is some ongoing work for making the renovation, the renewal of the names. I'm not sure how's that, what's the state of that, but essentially what you are going to be is like when you buy a domain for making easier to remember and to know who is behind an IP, right? So in my case, I have AE Omar Sadoun, the chain, and I know that that's related to my address. I have to check if I had to renew my chain name just in case. But well, you have a process, and you have a way to use that name and to check if it is still yours. You can transfer that name once it's claimed, or you can just leave it there, so but the important part is once you get that name, when it's yours, you have to keep it yours. You have to see when it expired, and then, well, grab it again. I like to say that this is like UX for developers, because sometimes it's so hard to remember all those strings. So this is a way to make it much more easier. Very well. Okay, this is a more complex one. For me, it's a challenge right now because I'm trying to work a little bit on it, and it's generalized account. By default, any transactions that we are doing on the Eternity blockchain is authenticated by digital signatures using EDSA. But this is the most simple way, in a way of speaking. But if you need to have your own mechanism, then you have the possibility to go through generalized account. It's a way to be more flexible. It's a way to give other kind of tools at the moment of signing a transaction. But of course, you have to make it by yourself. Otherwise, if you use the default signature type, well, you don't have to do anything specific. But if you need like, let's say, for, I don't know, spending limits, like spending limits per transaction type, some kind of restrictions. There is one I like it a lot, and could be a very good use case, is what happens when I lose access to my address. If I lose my keys, I lose everything. So maybe I can have a way to like a social recovery or something like that, where if I lose my access, I have a way to bring it back. I don't know. I leave it there for you guys to think of a solution related to that. But I know this is a huge thing over there, because every time somebody loses his keys, okay, that's it. There is no way to go back. So and when we start thinking of or kind of solutions that bring more, let's say, normal people, not crypto guys like us, we need to make they work much more easy, but also our work, because I'm pretty sure that at some point, it happened to me a couple of times, by the way, you can lose your private keys. So if you have some way to recover that still is secure, well, no, could be a good option. Other cases like multi-signatures or any other algorithm you want, or any cryptography that you want to use for doing your authentication and signing your transactions, could be a use case for generalized account. One little detail: once you attach, and that would be the process. I put the link for generalized account. We are trying, in this case, we're trying to share more examples. By the way, there's going to be a bounty related to this to create examples for generalized account. But once the way you do it is that you attach a smart contract. The pictures on the right side is related to that, by the way. Once you attach a smart contract, a transaction, well, that account that is normal is going to be forever a generalized account, and there is no way back that I know. So that's just a small detail in case you are trying to do stuff with this, and just try to use test accounts, so you don't have any trouble with that. There is more information about this on our GitHub, on the protocol side of aeternity. And once again, I invite you all to check on this, because I think there is very good stuff to do, and could be a good way to start. It's complex, but well, that's the idea. Have to be challenged. Well, we are almost there. We are going a little bit quicker than expected. When Eternity started, they were using the EVM, and at some point we started to work on having our own virtual machine. And that's not something small. On the contrary, it's a huge work, but with a unique objective, and it is having everything executed in a more secure, a faster, and a cheaper way than before. And that's why we wrote from scratch the all Fate fast eternity transaction engine, Fate, for making this possible. And why is that? Because and I have a short example of code on Fate. It's like there is a bound between what we have on the protocol that we can use in Sophia, that we are going to be talking about in a couple of seconds. But you have all the features on the protocol almost directly made on the Eternity virtual machine. So that makes all the execution much more faster. Also, of course, being made on Erlang make it faster like hell. So and those that we were working before and after Fate, we saw the difference. So that was a great opportunity to see how working on the protocol, working on all the tools we have, all the features, concentrating a lot of effort on that, well, it pays back at the end. So for me, it was a huge event to have this Fate online since Lima hard fork. And it's so clear when you see the function here. It's so clear, and how it works. And if you do the same but in Sophia, you will see how bounded it is. Okay, well, almost everything I talked about on the previous slides have a common point, and this is our smart contract language. Sophia is what we use for making our smart contracts every day. It's a functional programming where the main unit we have is the contract. We have very clean and error-proof language. I like it very much, but I'm partial in this. But it's a very clean language. You can do everything that is possible, of course, on this language for making a contract, but the language itself is taking care of avoiding any kind of error that you can make that are possible to do in other blockchain or smart contract languages. So what usually happens is if you are doing your contract and you get some errors, well, it's going to be sure that there is something wrong there. It's not. I like to say that it's error proof. But of course, this is programming, and you always have to test as much as you can, and making sure that everything is right before jumping on production. But well, that's the general rule for programming. I will say is that Sophia is functional. So if you have some knowledge about functional, it will be easier for you to understand. Otherwise, it's not that hard. It's simple. There is some specific keywords that you will be using. You will always be working between a list of types, entry points. Well, you can use local functions. It's important that you manage what is going to be your data structure for records. You have a special one that is the state, that is going to be well, your source of information. You can work with payable contracts. You can, of course, if you have an entry point that is going to be changing the state, well, you have to add a stateful keyword. We are going to be seeing more deeper on Monday, where we have the first basic understanding of Sophia. In that opportunity, I will be sharing with all of you what's the way to use it, what's the structure, how what are the types that we have, what is inside the box, and what we can use from outside the box. After that, we will have a more advanced webinar that my friend Philip Piwowarski is going to do, and then you can shoot him with a lot of complex questions. He knows a lot. But on the meantime, I will make his way a little bit easier for those that still doesn't know about Sophia and need to do some baby steps. We will have a small workshop where you will have to code, because so far it's me talking, it's me showing, but next time it's going to be team effort. I will show a part, and then you will have to work and code a little bit on your side. So we'll see how it goes. Well, once again, talking about the white paper, for me it was like a very good way to understand why, to understand how is done, and what is and was the purpose at that time for making this blockchain. So I invite you all to take a moment to download and to read the white paper, because I think it's a very good piece of information that will give you more detailed information, but also an understanding of the history and the purpose. How we are so far? Any question?
Yes, always.
Bring it to me.
Omar, which kind of features do you believe that a well-done DeFi service should have? For example, oracles, state channels. What kind of features do you believe that cannot are out of this DeFi application?
Well, this is a tough question because I believe that before looking at the tools or the features of the technology, I have to understand the problem and then look at what I have and what I can use to solve that problem. Um, so for me, it's very hard to see or maybe to force a feature to solve something. Not sure if I'm explaining the right way, but uh, of course, Oracle seems to be a very good tool. There is already use of oracles out there for DeFi solutions. Uh, I think the generalized account could be or could have a very good opportunity to help on that way. Um, and well, but any of the tools we have, any of the features, I'm pretty sure they will collaborate in somehow for building a DeFi solution. But for me, the first thing is to understand what is the pain, what is the problem, and that part is not that technical. But once you get that, well, you need to understand what you have to solve that the right way. So for me, first is the problem, then looking at the technology and see how you apply it and if it fulfill the purpose.
Okay, so there is no one that should be a must.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think so. Of course, the idea is to show the power of æternity. So while you are using our technology, well, it's going to be fine. But anyway, there is no restraint of using, I would say, just Sophia, because if you don't do a smart contract, it's not going to be maybe blockchain, right? So the first thing for me would be that, but
Yes.
that's the most obvious.
Yeah, sure,
regarding
sure.
regarding specific features, well, it will depend on the problem. Maybe you can solve it with a very simple smart contract, and that's great.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Omar, here's one more question from Jabs. He's asking if a chain name can be changed at any point.
The chain name change at any point. In what way? Come on, Jet.
No, it's Rogers, I think.
Roger. In which way? I'm not sure if I get the question. The process is that I create. Let me go back. The naming system diagram. The process is pretty simple. You once you have claim and you pay for your name, the name it exists. If you don't claim it again once it expires, somebody can grab it. I'm not sure what happens if nobody grab it. Not sure about that, by the way. But there is no such thing as changing the name. Instead of that, is you are just creating or claiming a new name, but not changing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Guillermo also pointed out here, it's probably asking if the name can be changed, like edited, like once you claimed it already, if it can be changed.
No. You are doing a new claim in that case, because if you change it, it's another name. So there is no. What you can do is once you claim a name, you can revoke that. You can transfer it to somebody else or some other address. Of course, you can point it to an address, but there is no such thing as changing the name. Changing a name is making a new name.
Yeah, I mean, once it's on the blockchain, it's there forever.
Of course. Yeah, that happens. That happens a lot on blockchain. Yeah, it stays forever there. Any other question?
Yogesh is asking if an alias can be used if a name is defined in the naming system.
Sorry, what?
He's asking, can an alias be used if a name is defined in naming system?
Alias. I'm not sure if I'm getting the question, but what you can use the name, and that's the most common use, and we are doing through Superhero, is pointing a name, a chain name. You point it to to your wallet account. So it's going to be for sending money, for sending tokens, instead of using AK 123 ABC, all of that. You can use I don't know, Eric.chain, and you send tokens to him. That would be an alias in a way.
Yeah, I mean the chain name is already the alias. It's the alias for the wallet address.
Are we good?
Yeah, I think so for now. Well, if anyone wants to ask a question, you can also unmute yourself. If you want to.
We don't want to be the only ones talking here with Eric, so feel free to join us. Let me just a quick walkthrough if I missed something. Okay, well, I just continue. Once again, on next Monday, we will be having the first Sophia focused webinar. The idea there is giving you tools to start coding, and you will have to start coding. We will do a small, easy workshop that let you work through all the different parts of Sophia on creating records, creating your first entry points, understanding how it works, pushing and compiling a contract. Well, compiling and then pushing that contract to the blockchain, and executing it from a web application. From now, from that point, you will be able to do your own smart contracts. We have a couple of editors. We will also show one of the editors. We have the AE Studio. There was I think somewhere here, a snapshot of AE Studio, whiteboard from Nikita, and he will present that also very shortly, so you can try it out and create your own smart contractor. So, and then some days after that, I don't remember exactly the date, we will have that more advanced webinar, and a deeper use of the complex part of the smart contract. There is a bunch of things that can be done, from very simple to pretty much to pretty complex things. So, and also the use of oracles, and well, having the opportunity to ask a lot of questions to people. For me, just leave the easy to answer question, please. Very well. If there is no more question for now, the idea also was to talk about a couple of use cases. There is one I know very well because I was involved on the work, and there is Superhero also that is going to have his own chapter of presentation. So I won't go too deeper on that one. I don't want to mess up with the work of my colleagues. So I will start with the description. Superhero is a social media platform with no censorship, no way of tracking information, no revenues. You have a easy and transparent way to share content and get paid for that without intermediaries, without nobody messing with the fees, with the like, doesn't matter what kind of platform you use to make money with your content, somebody is going to be grabbing a good piece of that. So we created an awesome tool for that. And for me, it's a very good example of the use of smart contracts and oracles. If I have to check it from the technical perspective, it's a very good example, and we are giving away the code. It's all open source. You can check it, you can fork it, you can improve it, you can do whatever you think is helpful for you, or you can just use it for sharing your content and get tip for that content. There is a bunch of work on that platform. Well, coming back to the other platform, the short story is that we made a platform from making the traceability of medicinal cannabis from seed packaging, where the problem was that the buyers, by the way, I'm from Uruguay, and production in Uruguay is legal, just in case. And now it's going to be legal almost everywhere. So step by step. In this case, the problem was that the buyers needed to be sure that what they were buying had the right quality, had the right process behind it, and had all the information just to answer some very basic questions, like this cannabis, this medicinal cannabis that I'm buying, was made with a legal license. This was going through all the usual processes. This was made using the different practices that need to be held for entering countries like Switzerland, like Germany, where they need to ensure that the process of the production was following, let's say, GAP, good agricultural processes, good manufacturing processes. It's all techniques that you need to ensure, and a great way to ensure that process. And some stuff like very basic, but I like to explain this to everybody. It's like, imagine that you have a production that is illegal. You have everything perfect. You have your batches. You do everything right, and you will be like putting the past of the time on the chain. If I have a centralized platform where I do all this, I can invent that time. I can invent that I have 3 batches that were created during the last 3 months. But if I do this on a blockchain, it's going to be much harder, because every day I will have to be put in that history, and at the end it's going to be much easier to do it right, to do it the good way directly, than just inventing that history. The idea was to put all the information, all the process of the production, all the techniques that you are executing, but not the technique itself, but the result. Like, I have a badge that has this location that was at that place. With that information, I have this weather information, and I put all those results on my platform. At the end, I'm going to be sending to my customer, to my buyer, all that history, all that information, and he doesn't have to trust on the story I'm telling to him. It just he if he wants, he can, other than looking at the fancy way I'm showing, he can just grab the information directly from the blockchain. So we understood our customer needs on that way, and well, we created this platform that is other available also to make it to make the traceability of cannabis, medicinal cannabis. Technically speaking, the actual version, what we are doing is storing on a smart contract all the information. We know, and we have an address for each operator. So the operator is the one who is signing the transaction with a balance. And this is the real world approach into the technical world sometimes, where you have to balance how easy you make for the people to use blockchain applications. Like, well, the user, does he have a login information and we sign for him, or he will have to create directly the address if he doesn't have a wallet, or if he loses that wallet? Well, that's it for him. So there is a bunch of decisions you have to make, bringing balance between what's mandatory for a blockchain projects, for fulfilling the objective of the platform, but also making what we want, right? The life of people easier, more stable, secure, and everything else. So we did a very good first job on this. We achieved that, but at the end is that we have a smart contract where we are storing. There is plans of bringing the weather information through oracles. That was a challenge, not for the technical part, but for having the stations, the weather stations, sending information. They are proprietary, and if there is anybody out there that has non-proprietary workstations, we are here to hear. But anyway, so that's a good example on production being used, and being an example for, I would say, a lot of the cannabis industry. So I'm really happy for that. And what is for me, we are a little bit earlier than expected, but if there is questions, now is the time. Otherwise, thank you very much for hearing me, for I hope understanding everything I said. I'm going to be available during the whole hackathon, so feel free to ask anything. If I don't know the answer, I will look for the answer or the right person for making that answer. We are all here to learn and to create very cool stuff, very cool products. So let's see how it goes. Thank you very much again, and well, we are open for questions.
Don't be shy, you can just unmute yourself.
I just figured I was standing here all the time looking at the camera, and the camera was off. Yes, because it turned off the camera.
So I can go ahead with the first question. Omar, what is your personal favorite use case on the æternity blockchain?
Well, that's unfair for me, because I was so involved in that project that, well, I'm still involved. So it's like, yeah, hard to answer. It's hard to answer. Let me think a little bit about. Yeah, I have another great experience. Was actually the first one working on the governance app that we have today on the Superhero platform, and it was a challenge, but the idea behind, I think, is great. Making making a vote, a way to vote that is transparent, that is traceable completely. And it was very interesting for me, because it wasn't only about the technical part of making it available. By the way, it's not that I made the entire governance app. I just forget what people made and did some adjustment for a use case here in Uruguay for the digital party. But the thinking on how this is going to be used by person voting and trying to define stuff, was like, okay, this is much more than technology. This is even politics at some point. So, but for me so far, the cannabis projects, like, well, was the best for me so far. I hope yeah. But I know it's like I'm too much involved, so it's not
Slide your mind.
Sorry, what?
Flight your mind in Spanish.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, well, we had another project that we were building, and there is some participant here also that was kind of cool, and also talking about other stuff than technology, with the guys from Origins, where we were dealing with IDs of people in very tough conditions, of places where the ID that I have on my wallet doesn't work, right? So there is not such concept in those places. So when you need to things, very simple things like finding maybe your family, and you don't have an identity piece, well, how you do with blockchain to make this possible? So we working on a small project, a small prototype on that with the origin guys, and it was very interesting also, and touching in some places, touching also. So but it's kind of, and that's one of the things I like the more of blockchain, is you start talking about technology, but you end up talking about economics, philosophy, politics, refugee camps. Like, it's incredible, and that doesn't happen to me with other things on technology. And I have been in technology since almost all my life. So, but this is something that just happened here, and I like it very much.
We have a question from Yogesh in the chat. I don't know if you can see it now, Omar.
Yes, let me find it. Yogesh, sorry, what to ask? How eternity can be leveraged in the insurance industry? Well, it's not an easy question to answer either. I guess there is a lot of field for making, and this is a use case I know, for the use of cars. When you have an insurance for your car, usually depends or should depend on who am I, what are my ways to drive, where I'm driving, and there is a lot of variables that could make the price of that insurance go up or down. The thing is, how do I make this transparent, so I ensure that the one who is selling me the insurance is not like cheating on me, right? So if I and on the opposite, if I say that I'm a good driver, I don't do weird stuff with my car, so I'm very careful. I don't go farther than some speed, and I don't any kind of weird stuff while I'm driving. I have to share that information in a transparent way to who is giving me that insurance, and at the same time, the insurance has to be calculated with those rules. And what we know that could be a great way of establishing rules on the stone, so we can be sure that nobody is messing with the other. But that's one use case I know. I'm sure that there is a lot maybe on that way also. There is one that I heard about for insurance for the houses. If there was a kind of storm or something, and you could integrate oracles to bring that